At T-Mobile, our critical mission is providing unparalleled 5G coverage for when connectivity is mission critical. Introducing T-Priority, America's best 5G network experience for first responders, even in times of congestion. More capacity, faster speeds, better coverage. T-Priority from T-Mobile, built for tomorrow's emergencies, ready today. Discover more at t-priority.com.
For qualifying organizations on eligible rate plans, coverage not available in some areas and may be impacted by emergencies.
Empower.
Claire is practicing her breathing for her upcoming yoga retreat in Bali. Has she ever done yoga before? No. But Claire worked with Empower on her savings and investment strategy. She got good at money, so she can be a little bad. Empower. Invest well, live a little. Join our 19 million customers today at empower.com.
Past performance is not indicative of future returns. Investing involves risk. You may lose money. Advisory services are provided for a fee by Empower Advisor Group, LLC, EAG, a registered investment advisor with the Securities and Exchange Commission. Namaste.
Welcome back, everybody, to another fantastic episode of the Every Pokemon Episode Ever podcast. I am one of your hosts this week, Professor Chris G, and on the other line with me, I'm sorry, people, is the man with a mouth as big as the Gulpin. It's good old Dougie Fresh. Dougie, my man, how are you doing?
You know, I'm a lot better now that we've gone back and redone this thing 7 times.
Oh my God.
Holy snakes.
People, so I'm not going to say what I said, but so originally we hit the record button on this podcast, everyone, which is why we're starting the episode kind of laughing just a little bit, because I couldn't compose myself before hitting the record button again. And I gave Doug a nickname for the episode that we're doing today. And I'm not going to say what I said because we don't need that out there.
No.
But it was one of those moments where, like, as I was saying his nickname, I was like, no, come back into my mouth right now. And Doug was like, nope, we're not doing that. Nope, we're not doing that. I was like, no, we're not. I was like, fuck, I didn't even think before I was even talking. Oh my gosh.
I mean, I will give you credit. You caught it first. Like, you caught it like a half a second before I did, because I was about to say, do you realize what you just said? And you're like, I can't put that out. I was like, yeah.
No, and I couldn't do that. I couldn't do that to you to save your life, especially on your birthday week.
Yeah.
We can't be doing that to you on your birthday week.
Yeah.
What? Like, what's wrong with me, Doug? What is wrong with me?
How much time you got?
Oh, shut up. Oh man. And yes, this is how we talk when we're off the air, everyone. It's just constant jokes and just nudging. It's just funny. It's all fun and games over here. But how are you doing, bro?
I'm pretty good.
It's your birthday week.
It is. My birthday is in a couple days. Well, when's this going out?
This is going out. Well, I mean, this episode is going out in a couple weeks from us recording this, but you can tell everybody when you're how many days away we are from your birthday.
That would require me doing math.
Well, we're recording this on August 31st. How many days until your birthday, bro?
5. I think.
There you go. You said 5 days.
I think.
Tomorrow is September 1st.
Well, yeah. Well, I don't. 4 or 5 days. I don't fucking. What is time?
It's your birthday. When is your birthday? Tell our audience.
My birthday is September 4th. People are trying to do the math. They're like, this guy sucks.
Yeah, it is. Your birthday, bro, is in 4 days, not 5.
Oh. Oh, okay. Well, there you go.
So let's go ahead and get on into this episode. So this episode is called A Rocking Roll, or translated from Japanese, Panic, Gokulin Ball. And then the second half of this episode is called Eyes on the Goal, or translated from Japanese, Come On, Kamukame Turtle Race. And it premiered in Japan on March 5th of 2021, and here in the States in the bulk roll on Netflix, September 10th, 2021.
So I'm curious about, and I usually don't get into the minutia on the titles of the episodes, but because you touched on this a little bit as we were wrapping up last week's episode, how they kind of did a bit of a throwback with this, and they split it into two kind of mini episodes.
Yes.
So, and I mean, obviously we don't know the thought process unless we're actually, talking with a producer of the show or whatever. But how do you think they landed on emphasizing the turtle half of the episode as opposed to frickin' runaway gulpers in the first half?
I don't know. Maybe they were trying something, or they just knew at some point that they were going to need to do something for an episode, or they were down an episode and they were like, okay, just anime something, and someone threw out there, let's just do 2 mini episodes for a week. And then they just did it.
I mean, honestly, I liked it. I mean, I do not think they could have gotten a whole episode out of either one of these halves.
No, not at all. But let's put it this way. Like, we were talking about this last week, and this episode is definitely a whole lot better than last week's episode in our eyes. Me and you can both agree.
Yes.
Like, I know a lot of people might have liked last week's episode, and to each his own, and we're not here. We're here to go over every episode of Pokemon, and whether we like it or not, and whether you interpret the episode differently than how we do. That is what we're here for. We want to hear that feedback. And the reason a lot of you keep coming back is we kind of feel like you guys kind of agree with what we say for certain episodes. So maybe not. I don't know. But yeah, this episode in our eyes is a step up from last week. So
not a giant step.
No, I mean, not a giant step, but it definitely warrants like a hats off to, okay, don't be making fun of these filler episodes anymore. And we're like, okay.
Yeah, that's true. If we could make an agreement right here, right now, we'll just keep our mouth shut about filler episodes going forward, because we've learned our lesson.
Yes. If I never have to do another episode like we did last week ever again, even though I know there's episodes out there, I will take it.
Yes.
I'll take it.
In a heartbeat.
Yes. So, but yes, as I stated, these are 2 different episodes. We are going to get into the bulk of these. How are you doing over there, bro? It's been a week since we've recorded. Anything new in Doug's world?
It's my last 4 or 5 days being the current age.
4 days, Doug. 4 days. You're turning into an old man already. 4 days. Just say it. Just say 4. You're trying to add a day.
Trying to get a birthday week.
And it doesn't work like that.
Well, yes, it does.
For real.
If the birthday falls on a Monday, I get the whole week.
You ready to jump on into this episode, bro?
Absolutely.
All right. So, this week's episode does not start the way that the rest of these episodes have been starting, which is how they should start a damn Pokemon episode every week. But we start this week's episode by looking at the Team Rocket Go machine. And Team Rocket is all sleeping inside of their headquarters. And we see Jessie is just sitting there and she's talking in her sleep. And she looks up and she slaps James in her sleep, and James looks around and he's like, oh no. He's like, was that you old chum? Quit thrashing in your sleep, me. And he's looking over at Meowth as he's saying that.
Oh, that's right. Was that you, my old chum? Quit thrashing in your sleep.
And Meowth is like, he's like, nah. And he's all sleeping, and James picks up Meowth and he puts Meowth on the little concoction that has all of the Team Rocket Pokeballs in it. And Meowth is just sound asleep, and James sleepwalks back over and sits down and falls back to sleep. And Pelipper walks over and is like, oh my gosh, I can turn this console and I can get a Pokemon, because apparently everyone wants to turn this console. And Pelipper is trying to turn it, but he can't turn it, so he gets mad at the machine, so he pecks it. And then all of a sudden one Pokeball falls out, and Pelipper is like, oh my gosh, and it falls on the ground, and out comes Gulpin. And then another Pokeball, and another Pokeball, and another Pokeball. And all of a sudden, hundreds of Pokeballs start flying out of this machine. And Pelipper is losing its mind. And it's like, oh my gosh, what did I do? What did I do? And Pelipper is looking down, and coming out of every single one of these Pokeballs is a Gulpin. And all these Gulpin are walking out of the Team Rocket headquarters. And Pelipper is just closing its eyes and is like, I'm going to pretend I didn't even do this. But as he's doing that, more Gulpin are still coming out of this machine. So it opens one eye and is like, fuck.
I love that. He's like, I'm not going to look. If I don't look, it's not happening. And then he's like, damn, this is reality.
So Pelipper looks over and he's like, crap. And then we get a look at Go running away or running up some stairs, and he looks like he's exercising.
Nothing like a good run to make you feel like new. Huh? Caught up with you, Go! Oops, sorry. Wait, I can't see! Go, are you alright?
You see a Gulpin fall into a bush, and Go goes and looks inside of this bush. Ash runs over and slaps Go on the back, but Go ends up falling into the bush, and when he comes out of the bush, he has a Gulpin on his head. And Ash is looking at him, and Gulpin yawns because he's stuck over on Go's face. And then we get the theme song. And bro, I'm going to hand this part on over to you, my brother.
Yeah, first of all, I have to make a comment that this is probably the weirdest transition between episode and theme song. Because, you have no idea what's going on. Even if you're sitting there watching the episode. I feel like last week... Was it last week or was it 2 weeks ago? They just kind of, launched into the theme song.
I think that was 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, I think you're right. And then this week, it was almost like, oh, right, we have a theme song we got to get to. So, we get the theme song, and then we get the title of the episode, which well, okay, and I guess I didn't really think about it because the first half of the episode is titled A Rocking Roll, And then
Yes.
they do kind of a mini break. Anyway, so I guess they both kind of get shouted out. But so I guess I was off base when I said that. But in the moment, because there is like there's 3 dots after a rocking roll, and they do eyes on anyway, whatever the fuck. So, Go's standing there. He's like, I have no idea what's going on. I just know my head feels like jelly. And he puts his hand, on the Gulpin, as you would, because, you've got a strange Pokemon on your head.
And I'm just gonna forewarn you, Doug. I'm gonna go and get my charger for this review real quick, and I'm gonna have you continue, and I will be back, and it'll be like I never even left. Okay. So I'll be right back.
Maybe if I do good enough, he won't come back.
Ouch! I heard that.
Oh damn. So Ash is sitting there. He's like, "It looks like you turned into a Gulpin," and come to find out, Go's hand is stuck, and they're trying to figure out, where did the Gulpin come from, and Go's like, well, when I was looking into the bush, I saw the Gulpin, and and then Ash is like, I slapped you on the back, and then here we are, and then this is when we find out that Go's hand is stuck because I will make sure to ask my co-host if Gulpin are naturally sticky, if that's something that's come up in the games. But that's how I kind of took it as I was watching the episode. So Go obviously can't move, and Ash is like, well, I'll help, a little bit of elbow grease. So he is pulling, and he braces his foot on Go's ribs at one point, and he goes flying, and he's still stuck, and Go's like, well, frickin', let's just go back to the professor's lab and have them look at it, and then we see Pikachu's looking at Ash, and Pikachu's freaking out, and then he kind of makes a motion to his tail, and come to find out, when Ash fell over, he landed on another Gulpin.
He got a Gulpin on his butt.
I don't know where you were, but I asked, I made reference to the fact, are Gulpin naturally sticky?
Yes.
Okay, they are. Okay, well. So now we're sitting there, and we've got Go's got a Gulpin on his head, and Ash has a Gulpin on his butt, and Go's trying to be helpful. He's like, don't touch it, and then
Whatever you do, don't touch it! I touched it, all right. How come these Gulpin are stuck to us? So weird.
Yeah.
They'll fix this when we get to the lab. We're gonna be fine.
Yeah.
Go, you seem bummed out.
Not exactly. I'm just a little embarrassed since we're holding hands.
Go and Ash are holding hands because Go needs to be led, because obviously he doesn't have his vision, and they're kind of freaking out because they are 10 years old or whatever, so that's still a thing, and Ash gets stopped in his tracks because there's like a street performer, like an Alakazam, is juggling spoons, and Ash is like, let's go over. And so they run down some steps, and as they're crossing into the area where the show's happening, another rush of Gulpin just come hurtling out of nowhere and sideswipe them, and they get frickin' swallowed up. And Pikachu's got the got the crazy eyes that I fell in love with during Ash's final episodes. And they're just in the middle of this gulping, and then even the Alakazam's looking. He's like, "What in the world?" And it's just this massive pile of Ash and Go and just a dozen gulpins. And Go's like, "What's going on? It feels like tons of jelly." And they just start rolling towards, and everybody that was watching the show gets caught up in this ball. So, like, there's an Alakazam in there, there was a Machamp, there's a Raticate, there's a Ekans, there's a Clefairy. And they go hurtling down the steps, and then we pan over and we see a guy is pruning a tree branch, and then, you know, we pan down and we see he's not there anymore, and then we find ourselves in the middle of the ball. We see Pikachu's out of it. You know, he's got the Pokemon KO eyes. Ash and Go are screaming.
A lot of Pokemon get that in this like little mini episode that we're going through.
For real. So Alakazam gets pissed off, and he's like, "Well, I'm a psychic Pokemon." So he just decides, "I'm going to use Psychic and send this ball airborne." And, you know, we just see, like, the sheer amount of humanity and Earth and just everything.
The ball literally flies up, and as it's flying up, it flies into a bit, like a little, like, 70th floor cafe building. Like, it's so high up in the sky and just smacks up against the glass, and everyone just looks up and was like, "What was that?" "Oh, it's a ball."
It's a ball.
Oh, okay. So, yeah, I just thought that was funny. It was just the ball just hits it, and the people just don't even pay it any mind, like, at all.
I mean, pardon me, at least, like, they flinch. But it's not like, "Oh, we got to go, you know, stop what we're doing." It's like, "Oh, it's just Tuesday." And so, I mean, this ball it's just bouncing, and, you know, Ash is kind of into it now. He's like, "This is kind of cool."
Might I add, Alakazam was knocked out when the ball collided with the window, because
yes.
the impact of all the Gulpin, like, squeezing up against it, ended up knocking it out for the time being.
Right.
Yes.
And, you know, Ash is kind of sitting there, and he's kind of getting into it, and Go's sitting there like, "Don't tell me you're getting into this chaos." And Ash, he gets the star eyes, and he's just like a pig in shit. And the ball, you know, it lands on a skyscraper, and it goes rolling down, and it's picking up speed, and, I mean, it's going. And Pikachu wakes up just in time, which is a bad time to wake up, and it just lands, and it's just rolling, and it's not stopping. And Ash is just, he's having a ball, and then we see that there's a Snorlax in the road. Well, obviously,
oh, he's having a ball. Did you do that on purpose?
Not even a little bit. Not even. Hand up, I swear to goodness.
Having a ball.
Having a ball. And we're in the lab, and we're seeing that the professor and his assistants are tracking the kind of this massive humanity that they're picking up, and the professor's like, "It's heading this way," and Krissa pulls out her phone, and she's like, "Well, Ren was shopping nearby, and he's kind of been reporting on the scene." So they send her images up to the big screen, and we just see, like, action shots and
of the ball.
There's a freaking a Magnemite, and he looks over, and apparently this Magnemite's named Francis, and Ren's like, isn't this incredible, Francis? And Magnemite's like, it sure is something. And and we're starting to see like more and more videos are popping up, and
everyone's covering this now.
Right. And, it's images and freaking Chris is like, we have the first still images. And then we get a shot of the origin of the glob. And the professor's like, is that Ash?
He's like, and go? And he's just looking at it. And they come to find out that the professor's like, okay, so these are a bunch of Gulpin that have kind of formed together, and they're sticking to everything. So it's from this point that once the professor sees Go and Ash, he just looks in at the images, and we see Chloe. Chloe is walking back up, and she's being called by Go.
Hello? Chloe! It's me! It's Go! Go, calm down. What's wrong?
That's Go?
We need help! We're rolling your way now!
Huh?
Allah! Kazan!
We're just rolling! I think we're flying!
What are you talking about? Are you alright?
I'm calling because I'm not alright!
Chloe, hand me the phone.
Okay.
Go!
Professor Cerise!
I think I understand what's going on. I believe what's behind it is Gulpin's sticky hold ability.
Sticky hold? What do we do?
Huh? Use Gulpin's gastro acid move to break free from the sticky hold.
Use an Astro Glasses move?
No, gastro acid.
Right! Use Astro Glasses!
No, wait, that's still incorrect.
Astro Glasses! No time! Let's tell the Gulp Pin together! Got it! Here we go! Right! On your mark! Get ready! Gulpin, use Astro Glasses!
And right then and there, you see a big explosion from all the Gulpin, and all the Pokemon and everything just goes flying. So does Ash and Go. And the professor has a sigh of relief, and Chloe is like, what the hell is going on right now? And you just see all the Gulpin are just flying everywhere. And then all of a sudden we have Cersei. He's like, so that's what happened. I understand now. Still, we gathered some incredible data from this event. And Ash is like, yeah, but I gotta say, who knew Astro Glasses dissolved Gulpin's sticky hold? And the professor is like, it's gastro acid, not Astro Glasses. And Go was like, yeah, that was something. And Ash was like, yeah, that was fun. And Go is like, oh, well, yeah, I guess. Okay, I'll take that. And they go and they high five each other. Pikachu jumps up because the day has been saved. And that is literally the episode.
Yeah, that's
so we're about to get into the second half of this episode, bro. And the second half of this episode is going to go so much quicker than this first half of this episode. And I feel like this first half just flew by.
Ha! Now who's
you got it?
Now who's making the jokes? Yeah, I got it. But I think you meant to do yours.
No, I didn't, but it helped. But this week's Who's That Pokemon was of course Gulpin, the sticky Pokemon. And Pikachu's like, yeah! And then we go back and we're in the second half of the episode. And Doug, I'm going to hand this on over to you because I did quite a bit of talking in that last one. So I'm going to give you some of this one.
Okay, so we go back to the hideout, and Team Rocket's still asleep. They're surrounded by Pokeballs. Meowth wakes up and he's like, "How? My head feels like it's gonna," because he's been upside down for who knows how long, which probably isn't good for you. And Wobbuffet's sitting there. Like, yeah, you should probably. And then Wobbuffet tries to sit up, and he's under a table, so he frickin' bonks his head. And he's like, "Son of a bitch, that hurt. Motherfucker, that hurt." And Meowth's like, "I understand you're in pain, but you gotta help me. You gotta work with me. I can't move otherwise." And Wobbuffet comes over, and he's looking at the dial, and he's looking at Meowth. He's looking at his charm being stuck, and Wobbuffet's like, "I see what happened," and freaking he's like, just give the twist the knob for me, and Wobbuffet's like, "Oh boy," and one Pokeball.
I've always wanted to twist it.
Oh, pardon me. And just one Pokeball comes out because Wobbuffet didn't freaking kick the machine. And Meowth's like, "Okay, now you got what you wanted. Now help me out of this thing. I'm gonna freaking pass out." And Wobbuffet, he has to kind of jiggle Meowth because he's been sitting there for a minute. And Meowth's like, "Jeez, oy vey." And Wobbuffet's looking at his Pokeball prize, and Meowth's sitting there going, "How did my charm get in that slot?" And Wobbuffet's like, "I got a Pokeball." And Meowth's like, "What do you suppose is in that thing?" And Wobbuffet's like, "I don't know." So he winds up like a pitcher and throws it against the wall. Not that I made it sound more malicious than it was. I mean, he just throws it, like you would a Pokeball. And a freaking a Churtle? A Choodle comes out. And it's a little turtle fella with a bit of a cowlick, and he's kind of determined, and he's just going. He doesn't know where he's going, but he's just going. And Meowth's like, "Well, hold on there, fella." And then we get like a freaking a bit of a send up of the opening, except instead of Pikachu coming bounding out, it's Wobbuffet. So this is when we get the intro to Eyes on the Goal. And instead of Ash saying the title, it's actually Jesse and James.
Team Rocket. Yes, I thought that was pretty cool.
That was pretty cool. And we come back to the episode, and Choodle and Wobbuffet and Meowth are just walking down an alley. Meowth is kind of making it seem like Choodle's in the lead. And, we have a turtle joke, because Choodle is going slow. And Choodle's looking around, and we see a nice playground. And Meowth's like, so he wants to play in the park. And alongside of him, another Pokemon comes out, and this is I was kind of waiting. I was kind of hoping for Meowth to. It's a Turtwig.
Turtwig, yes.
And Choodle kind of views Turtwig as like challenging it. So we see them kind of picking up their pace, and it looks like it's this really intense. Like, oh my God, they're going, stride for stride, and they're just burning. Come to find out, they're barely under the first little swinging bar or whatever. and they're barely going, but in their head, pardon me, in their heads they're fucking going for it.
Yeah, they are.
And Meowth is, he's like, oh look, Choodle and Turtwig, they're playing together. And Turtwig kind of takes a side eye to Meowth.
Pretty cool, Choodle. Looks like Turtwig wants to play with you. Turtwig. Huh? Don't make me laugh. Turtwig. I don't have the slightest intention to make friends here. Turtwig. You're way out of your league. You couldn't beat me after 100 years of training. What's with Turtwig? It's acting all puffed up as if it were a legendary Pokemon.
And
yeah, he said he's running his mouth as if he's a legendary Pokemon.
And
as if he's someone.
And then we get Choodle's side of the conversation, and Choodle's like, oh, you're the one that should back off. And then, Turtwig's kind of going back and forth, talking about how Choodle has a small shell, and they're kind of circling each other, and we see that Turtwig and Choodle, they're kind of embroiled in a little bit of a rivalry, and
yeah, so they're kind of embroiled in this rivalry. You get Wobbuffet that comes out with a freaking flag and is like, okay, so Choodle and Turtwig are going to have a race, and the winner can say that they are faster than the other. And Meowth is like, I'm going to record this on my Rotom phone, even though his Rotom phone doesn't want to do shit. It's a lazy Rotom phone. And Wobbuffet goes and runs all the way down to the end of the park, and it's like, okay, first one to me wins. And Meowth is getting ready to film. The Rotom phone is like, all right, fine, I guess I'll film this. Well, whatever. And Meowth is like, all right, you guys ready to make the ground shake? Ready? Go! And Turtwig and Choodle start walking, and Meowth is documenting it. And they're just walking, and they think they're going fast, and but they're not. And then we see a Torkoal run over, and Torkoal wants to be in the race too. And you see the Torkoal, and it's like, yeah, don't make me laugh. I'm gonna win this.
And if I hear "don't make me laugh" one more time, I'll cry. Don't make me laugh. Your cynical commentary is an insult to this race. What's funny? I'm laughing so hard my tummy hurts. I guess it really didn't want to laugh.
And then he fills the whole area with smoke. And Meowth is like, oh man, he's like, Torkoal can't keep up at all. But Choodle and Turtwig end up making it through the smoke, and now they're at their first obstacle, and they have to climb these steps and go down the slide, and they're both going up, and they're hitting each other, they're nudging each other, and all of a sudden not Choodle, Turtwig accidentally hits Choodle just a little too hard, and Choodle falls off the steps, but Turtwig grabs it by its head, and it's like, I got you, buddy. He's like, I might be mean, but I'm not rude like that. And Turtwig goes and he throws him up, and he throws Choodle down the slide, and Choodle hits the ground, and Meowth is like, what was that for? and he looks up, and Turtwig is standing on top of the slide, and he's like, "Man, Turtwig, you're pretty nice." And Choodle looks up and is like, "Yeah, I helped you, but just make sure that you stay right there, because I'm coming down now." And the Turtwig ends up coming down the slide, and they jump into a sand pit. Do you want to take it from here, brother?
So yeah, they're in the sand pit, and it's this big, gigantic action scene, and then out of the sand comes a Tortula, and
Tortuga, or it's the shell Pokemon.
Yeah, and Tortuga's like, you must be joking if you think you can beat me in the sand. And then we hear "Don't make me laugh again," and Meowth is about to have an aneurysm. And this Tortuga, he's just freaking going ham in the sandbox, and freaking Turtwig and Choodle are still just kind of chugging along at their own pace. And then all of a sudden the Tortula just
runs his head into the head of the sandbox,
bonks his head just without an ounce of hesitation. And Meowth's like, "Oh, it was all about the speed, but it wasn't really watching where it was going." And he's like, "The sandbox could care less. It's an unforgiving beast." And we see Turtwig and Choodle going back and forth, nose to nose.
Now it looks like Choodle and Turtwig, nose and nose! What's the matter, bud? It's nothing? Look at the leaves on its head! Know what I think? I think you're really thirsty. Walk away. You look drier than a bone. You're just not gonna come clean, are you?
This podcast is supported by Progressive, a leader in RV insurance. RVs are for sharing adventures with family, friends, and even your pets. So if you bring your cats and dogs along for the ride, you'll want Progressive RV insurance. They protect your cats and dogs like family by offering up to $1,000 in optional coverage for vet bills in case of an RV accident, making it a great companion for the responsible pet owner who loves to travel. See Progressive's other benefits and more when you quote RV insurance at Progressive.com today. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Pet injury is an additional coverage and subject to policy terms.
As a parent or mentor, you have the awesome opportunity to help a young person build a future. So if the future they want is in the military, take the time to learn more at todaysmilitary.com, because their success tomorrow begins with your support today.
Thankfully, Choodle is a water Pokemon, so he can kind of rehydrate him with Water Gun, and
which was really nice of him to do.
Sportsmanship. And
yeah,
they're kind of like, "Oh, you did all that for me," and Choodle's like, I want to win.
You did all that for me.
Choodle's like, "I want to win, but I don't want to win that way." And then we get another "Don't make me laugh," and Choodle's like, "You're not really my enemy. We're just kind of having a fun race." Competition breeds friendship, and Choodle's like, the race isn't over yet, and Turtwig just takes off like he's not looking, and he's like, "If that's all you got, then come on with it." And Meowth's like, "Oh, don't say 'don't make me laugh again.'" And they take off, and Meowth's touched by the friendship, and they're watching the the final stretch, and they're talking about pushing each other to new heights, and then there's a war turtle jumps in and a Squirtle and a couple other Pokemon on the right side that I don't know who they are.
we don't need to say every Pokemon that was there.
And then a couple other bigger Pokemon come at the end, and there's Wobbuffet standing there with the freaking flag, and he starts running because they're running at him. So technically,
Meowth kind of freaks out. He's like, "You can't move the goalpost."
Yeah, so technically the race can't end because they're chasing, and then Wobbuffet, thankfully for everybody involved, trips, and then we hear a strange voice say, "Hey, all of you!" And Wobbuffet kind of looks up like, "Jesus?" And we see and we hear an old man, and he's standing on top of a pyramid of Blastoises, and he's like, "That's about enough for today. It's time to go home." And all the Pokemon are like, "Oh boy, home!" And Meow's like, "What do you mean? What do you mean?" And
these aren't wild Pokemon.
And Meow's like, "Check out the old dude riding all the Blastoise." And Meow's like, "You know who that is? That's Shell Sage. And those are all his Pokemon." And Wobbuffet's like, "No shit." And Shell, the hell, he just said his name.
Shell Sage.
Yeah, Shell. And Shell's like, "Oh, it looks like y'all had a really nice, wonderful day." And he's like, "I saw that race. It looked like a real doozy." And then, it's like, "A real humdinger, now don't make me laugh." And then, Meow's like, "Oh, so that's where he gets it. Or that's where all the Pokemon get it, because that's all this old man says." And Wobbuffet's like, "Uh-huh." And then we pan down to poor old little Choodle, because Choodle technically is a wild Pokemon. And he keeps moving, and he crosses the flag. And
he wins.
And Meow's like, "Ah, you crossed the flag. You're number one." And then we all celebrate. And
he should have got a lot of experience points for that.
And then Choodle's like, "I had this in the bag this whole time, and it was a piece of cake." And then Meow's like, "Oh, come on, don't make me laugh." And, Shell's walking away with all his turtle Pokemon, and yeah, kind of, that's about it.
So how did you like these episodes, bro?
Well, pardon me, better than last week.
Yes, definitely better than last week.
But 'twas a low bar.
Yeah, I did enjoy these episodes. These episodes, they were decent. They were good. Let's see. We gave last week what, a 1 star last week?
Yeah.
So I think we can easily give this about a 2.5, maybe. I'm gonna give it a 2.5. What would you give it?
I'll give it a 2. I don't think either one of these halves deserves an extra bump, but I'll definitely give it a 2.
Okay. So good stuff. And but yeah, that was this week's episode, everybody. We hope you enjoyed the episodes as much as we enjoyed reviewing it for you. Do you have anything else to add this week, Doug, before we head off into the sunset?
The sunset?
Well, you don't know when people are listening to this episode.
Oh, you know what? That's right. You're 100% right. No. Once again, we hope everybody enjoyed our little output, however much of it makes it out. And
none of it.
This whole episode's going to get scrapped. We hope you enjoyed, and we hope you'll join us again next week.
All right. Well, that being said, then go ahead and say goodbye, Doug.
Goodbye, Doug.
And this is Professor Chris G telling all of you that we will be back with another episode fairly soon, everybody. Have a good night, everyone.